Feeling really lost in life, like you don't really know where you're going, like nothing really makes sense, the best thing that you can do for yourself is just set a goal and try to achieve it. Our brain was built for setting and achieving goals. And the problem right now is that society really pushes being stagnant, being stable, doing the same things week after week, not really evolving, not really changing. This is keeping us trapped, and we're not really learning how to evolve. When actually, our brain was built for progress. Our brain was built to have a sort of upwards trajectory at all times, to have something to aim towards. And if you don't set goals for yourself, you're basically just stumbling around in life, not really reaching your potential. Our society is designed for continuity. So we create routines, we create environments in which everything is stable. We work the same jobs for decades, we meet the same people week after week after week, have the same depressing conversations about the same things, and then we wonder why we feel empty and unfulfilled when we're often just bored because we're not really reaching our potential. We're not really doing all that we could do. A goal is a desired outcome that otherwise wouldn't happen without some kind of intervention. So, goal requires you to change your behavior. It requires you to step outside of your comfort zone and do something in order to change the outcome that you get. So you have to take a detour from the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance, let me tell you, is the path that most people are on in life. We are really doing everything to avoid pain and maximize pleasure for ourselves, when actually, this is not what our brain was built to do. We are built to experience pain in the pursuit of something that is meaningful. This is literally what we're meant to do. And by really pampering ourselves and comforting ourselves and playing it safe the whole time, we are starving ourselves of meaning. By intervening and by setting goals and actively chasing these goals, you can change what is happening in your life. You can take control of your life. Let's say you want to build a career on social media. When you actively go against what you've previously been doing, working your 9 to 5 or going to school or whatever, and then start chasing the goal of becoming a content creator, for example, you're intervening. And this is difficult at first because it requires your behaviors to change. You have to post, you have to think about video ideas, you have to work on pursuing that goal. And this sounds hard at first, right? This sounds like work. Same thing goes for if you want to get fit. At first, when you've been spending all your evenings on the couch, chilling and watching Netflix, it will be difficult to go to the gym instead. But this is what will create meaning in your life. And we all know this. At first, we don't want to do a thing. And when we do it and then we gain the reward from it, let's say you build a figure that you really like, you become more healthy, you build a following, you build a career, you're proud of yourself. And this feels way better and is way more meaningful and really outweighs all the effort that you've put in to get there. So, this is really what you're built for, aiming and achieving. So, how do we set and achieve goals? You might have heard the phrase, where there's a will, there's a way, and this really holds true. Both things need to be here, the way and the will. So the will means you have to be motivated. You have to have a goal that you really place value in. So it can't just be some external goal, something like, I need to do this task for my boss. This is not a goal. This is something that has been set onto you by society, by somebody else. Your goal has to be intrinsic. It has to be something that is meaningful to you, something that matters to you. Say you love doing music and you want to start a music career, then this can be your goal because it means something to you, because it's meaningful to you, because you identify as a musician. This is the will. The way is you have to map out the steps necessary, the steps that you have to take in order to achieve this goal. You have to have the skills to execute the actions necessary in order for you to achieve that goal. So you have to stay self controlled, even if you're in an environment where it's really tempting to give up. Let's say you're on a fitness journey and you're in the McDonald's. You have to have the self control to not order the McFlurry and the fries and the burger. No, you have to have the self control to stay in alignment with your goals and do what is right for you and do what is in alignment with these goals. So these things both have to match. You have to be motivated, it has to be meaningful to you, the will part, and you have to know which steps to take and also take them in the moment that they have to be taken. If a goal really is important to you, it requires your attention and it requires your full attention. It's a little bit like solving a math problem, okay? When you solve the math problem, all your attention is on the math problem because you can't think of something else. You can't do the calculation while thinking about last week or next week or whatever. You have to be in the moment. And this is what a lot of the times people get wrong. They try to achieve a goal, they try to pursue their goal, and then they're distracted the whole time. They're half-assing their goals because they're thinking about A, B, and Z. They're thinking about all the things that could go wrong. So they're in the gym, they're doing their set, and then they're taking way too long breaks because they're thinking about everything but their goal. And then they're wondering why they're not making any progress. If you do something for your goal, you have to be there 100%. Be there, come there with your whole mind. Your goals are what's important to you, so they deserve your attention. If anything deserves your attention, it's your goals. It's the things that you do for yourself in order to improve your life, in order to have more meaning in your life. So you have to attack your goal with all your attention, with all that's in you. And this is what also will motivate you even more, okay? So there's this thing called the SMART technique, and these are basically the letters stand for attributes that your goal has to have in order for you to achieve it. So what your goals have to be is specific. You need to get specific about what you want. What is it you want the most? Maybe really write out all the things that you want and then prioritize them. And start with the one that is most pressing to you. Start with the one thing that you want to change the most. Start with that thing. Second of all, measurable. Our brain loves to measure our progress. So you can't tell yourself, oh, I'm just going to become more fit. No, you need to break the goal down into measurable parts. So let's say becoming more fit to you means going to the gym 2 times a week. This is something you can measure. You're going to go to the gym 2 times a week, 1 time upper body, 1 time lower body. This is measurable, and you can tick those off. Third of all, achievable. Your goal has to be achievable. A lot of the times what people get wrong is they overshoot in the beginning. They want everything all at once. They say at like 3 a.m. In the morning, they think to themselves, oh my gosh, I want to change my life. And then they overshoot. Let's say you're really, really unsporty right now. And then you tell yourself, oh my gosh, I'm going to become a fitness influencer. That's not working. That's too much. There's sort of a sweet spot where your goal is difficult enough to be motivating because we get motivated by things that are kind of difficult that sort of require us to push ourselves a little bit, but it can't be too difficult so that it demotivates you because you can't achieve it anyway. You have to find the sweet spot, sort of the middle of this scale. So achievable is the next step. The R stands for relevant. So your goal has to be important to you. And this one I think is really difficult because a lot of the times we don't really know what we're about in this society. We define ourselves over other people. We define ourselves over what is popular right now. We tend to stick to the opinions of other people. We tend to like what is popular, and then we don't really know what we're about. So it will take some reflection time for you to really figure out what is important to you, what you want to be, not what your parents want you to be or your friends want you to be. No, what you want to be. This is important. Your goal has to align with your values. You can't chase a goal that's not important to you because then you will have no drive, you will have no motivation, and you need both the will and the way to achieve a goal. The last step is It has to be time bound. So this means that your goal has to have a specific deadline and a timeline. So you have to map out when you want to achieve what. This creates a sense of urgency and it prevents you from procrastinating. So this is how you have to set your goals. And now let's come to the process of achieving the goal. What do you have to do when achieving these goals? First of all, be proud of yourself. Allow yourself to be proud of yourself and celebrate the small wins that you have along the way. The worst thing you can do is just be a slave to yourself, basically. Just force yourself to do stuff and then not even be proud of yourself when you achieve them. This is low self worth at its worst. You basically suffering and forcing yourself to do stuff and then not even giving yourself any credit for that. Celebrate the small wins. You are on the right path. How badass is it if you set a goal and then you're actually doing the stuff to achieve this goal? That is badass behavior and it has to be rewarded. So when you go to the gym and tell yourself, I am amazing. I'm doing this. I told myself I would do this. I didn't do this 3 weeks ago, and I'm doing it now. This is evidence for the fact that I'm growing. This is evidence for the fact that I'm changing. Please, this is something that I struggled with personally. I wouldn't be proud of myself. And this killed my will. This killed my motivation. This killed my drive. You have to be proud of yourself. Give yourself the credit if you're doing the work. Also, own it if you're not doing it. If you failed to do the thing that you set your mind to do, you have to own it. You have to own the fact that you didn't do it. And you also have to tell yourself, we have to be better next time. Hold yourself accountable in both directions. You have to tell yourself when you're doing something good, and you also have to tell yourself when you're falling short of achieving that goal. So, really be honest with yourself here. Second of all, what is really important when you're trying to achieve a goal is we always have habits. And if you want to build new habits, odds are you have old habits that are kind of getting in the way. Let's say you want to be a more fit person and you have some old habits like whenever you felt stressed, you used to sit down on the couch and open a Ben and Jerry's. This is not a good habit to have, right? We can all agree on that. When you are trying to implement the new habit, which is being a fit person, you really have to make the old habit as inaccessible and as difficult to perform as possible. So really, don't buy the Ben and Jerry's. Always have an alternative thing to do so that this situation does not happen. You can't get on the couch and open the Ben and Jerry's because you have something else to do, because you don't have a Ben and Jerry's, because you have a gym date with a friend. Really make it as hard as possible for you to slip back into old patterns that you don't want to entertain anymore. So really, your environment matters here. It's very difficult to become a new person in an old environment. So when you change as a person, make sure to change your environment. Same goes for the things that you want to achieve. So make the things or the habits that you want to build as easily accessible as possible. So put your gym bag in the middle of your room where you can see it. Out of sight, out of mind really holds true a lot of the times. If we're not confronted with what we're wanting to do, we don't do it. But if the gym bag is in the middle of the room, you can't ignore it, and you know that you have to go to the gym today. Remember that setbacks are normal and that they are not a reason to completely get rid of your goal. This is an all or nothing mindset that really does not lead to anything. Let go of the all or nothing mindset. This is really the most important tip. Sometimes we face struggles. Sometimes we fall back into old habits, but that does not mean our progress is ruined. The neural pathways in your brain have already changed. When you start to change your behavior, your brain adapts as well. And even if you have one fallback, as long as it stays one fallback, it's all right. One mistake is one mistake, but two mistakes in a row, that's already falling back into the old habit. It's fine to make a mistake. Don't beat yourself up about it, but see the mistake, accept that you've made it, hold yourself accountable. There's that accountability again, and then move on. Oftentimes, obstacles are an opportunity to grow even more. And when you learn over and over again that even when you're facing an obstacle, even if you're screwing up, you're still not letting go of your goal. That's also something you learn. And that's also trust that you build in yourself. When you learn that even when you sometimes fall back or when difficult things happen, you still are committed to your goals, that's the best thing that you can learn for yourself. And that's the best thing you can do. Whenever you feel demotivated, you have to tap into your why. Think about why you want to achieve the goal that you're wanting to achieve. Think about your past. Think about where this motivation, this will came from. Why did you want it in the first place? Think about maybe how horrible you felt physically before you started your fitness journey. How you didn't feel nice in clothes, how you didn't feel pretty. Or when you're wanting to build a career, think about your old 9 to 5 job where you really didn't have any fun at all. Think about why you want to achieve those goals. Remember why, even if it gets hard, even if the way gets very difficult, if there's a lot of obstacles, if you don't seem to make any progress, know that this stagnation is temporary, because when you attack something with all your attention, it's almost impossible for you to fail, okay? So even if there's a period of stagnation, remember that it's temporary and remember why you wanted to achieve the goal in the first place. This is the best thing to do if you want to boost your will, if you want to boost your motivation again. And I would promise you, when after that period of stagnation, when you're able to outlast this period of stagnation, and then you will improve again, this it will feel better than anything else, because you stayed strong even though you weren't receiving any rewards for your behavior. This is how you really build a habit. If you keep doing the thing even though you're not being rewarded, even if you're not seeing any physical changes in the first 3 weeks of going to the gym, if you still go, this will make your habit as solid as can be. I hope that you guys could take something from this video, and I see you guys in the next video. Bye.